Welcome back to Great Day Houston. Hope after Harvey. We have seen so much devastation and people who are so desperate, and unfortunately there are people who will prey on them. So before you do anything with anybody, you might want to check with the Better Business Bureau, and joining us with some tips is Dan Parsons with the Better Business Bureau.
Hey.
Hello there.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You and I have been through many disasters together.
I know, it's getting old.
9/11, Allison, and it never ceases to amaze us the depths or the low depths that people will go to to take advantage of somebody. Have you already seen things coming in?
We saw it before the rain stopped. I mean, the fake HSI, the Homeland Security, the fake immigration people coming in, the fake FEMA people. I mean, the rain hadn't even stopped falling when they were knocking on doors saying you need to get out so I can canvass your house and basically rob you. So, I mean, that's new. Social media has been new in this one, getting a lot of stuff wrong. You know, the gas shortage, there ain't one, okay? Everybody ran on it like they run on banks. So you had a lot of craziness on this. And again, it's the size of it, Deborah. It's a big storm. Big things.
All right, so all kinds of things to look out for. One, of course, I think a lot of people are struggling with this because there's a lot of money being raised and people want to give, right?
They do.
But there are fake fundraisers, and so you got to vet where your money's going to go.
Okay, we're in church. Let me give you the 11th commandment on charity giving. Any cause good today will be good in a week. So stop, cool your jets, take a minute, make sure you know who you're donating to. They'll still want it. They'll still want it later, so don't rush into it. You know, we've got the established charities are out there. We've got some, I am going to warn on one thing. A lot of the crowdfunding, GoFundMe, those being driven on social media have fees attached to them. I've seen a few people out there, 100% of our money's going to the mission. No, it's not. And again, the mission's good, you're doing it, it's a vast majority.
Like all the ones who are nonprofits, they somewhere you can find how much of their money really goes to the cause, right? And if you're okay with that, fine.
Exactly. Well, and it should not exceed 40% administration fundraising, and preferably a whole lot less than that.
Yeah. All right. The other thing you can do is give directly to the people you work with. If you know there's a shelter you work with, you can show up with the food, or show up with the clothes,
100%.
or show up with the toys.
That's,
so you already know.
That's good charity. That's good stewardship.
Yeah. All right. We have some folks with some questions here. I'm going to start with a Facebook question. This is from Amy. Is there a list of or association for honest contractors? Because this is an area where we see people have already come in from out of town and they're knocking on doors, taking checks up full, and then taking off.
I would give 3 sources. We're one. BBBHOU.org. The Greater Houston Builders Association is made up of good people, and the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, or NARI, N-A-R-I. Those 3 are gold standards. Can't lose.
All right, and when somebody is a member of the BBB, what do you look at to make sure they can really be a member of the BBB?
They've had to go through a lot of due diligence, including you are pre-committed to answering complaints. You're pre-committed to mediation arbitration. You will advertise truthfully. And right now in this disaster, you better not screw up. So they have to go through all those things.
And if there is a discrepancy, what you make sure is people work it out. Because sometimes people are going to have differences.
And businesses right now, we're already getting calls today as the week has begun. Business is going, I can't get to this complaint yet because my water is under office. Office underwater. We get it. We know there'll be some delays. Don't worry about it. We're still going to stay with you. Deborah, what you also want to watch for is, as a contractor, where you can find nothing. That scares me. Nothing at our bureau, another bureau, anywhere, nothing at all. And you're in the service industry, those are ones you be cautious about.
Yeah, all right. Nacarol is here now, and this is one of those things where in Houston we see charities all the time, but now it's amped up, and you have a concern about that.
Yes, every time I turn around, I'm hearing about a different charity. How do I know what's real?
Yeah, all right, so we didn't talk about how you can check to make sure it is a real, because with social media, it's all different.
I'm going to be a little bit harsh here. If you don't know them, wait before you give. Let's determine that they're really have they met IRS guidelines? Are they a 501c3? Deductible as a real nonprofit? Again, it's the urgency to give because your heartstrings are tugged. Your brain strings need to be ticked in to say, wait a minute, there's other needs right now, give it a little bit of time. So ones that are new or unknown, I say wait. I say wait. Sorry to be that way, but you should.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you have that little thing in you that kind of says, hey, I'm wondering. Because we actually have seen where there have been fake victims too. Because you can get out there on the side of the road with a broken down car and people will go back to a nice, dry home.
We have had canvassers in the street since the beginning of the city. And I can say one thing. Are they in need? Probably. What is the accountability for your donation? 0.
Yeah.
All right. That's just a fact of life.
Yeah. All right. Camellia, hi there.
Hi. Continuing on with fakeness, how do we determine which FEMA is real and which FEMA is fake?
Right, and he touched on that earlier and said we're never going to ask money from you, but
Watch robocalls. That's something new that's happened here. And they're automated. That's not how FEMA does it. If you've registered, they've got your information, they're contacting you. If you haven't been registered yet, you shouldn't be getting calls at all. They carry identification. They have a supervisor. You can check with FEMA to validate that information. That is very important right now because of the scope. And the con men and women, it's equal opportunity profession, do something very cool. They work off reality. And FEMA people are in the city. So it's very believable to say, yeah, here I am. Well, you ain't with FEMA. So it's very, very important, again, to get those credentials. And if in doubt, check before you let them go even cross your doorstep.
Thank you.
All right. So Sarah on our Facebook page asked, how do I report a scam?
Right now, the government agencies, and we will in just days be getting together to pool our resources. Right now, I'm going to be a little greedy. I want people to send them to us. We have been up since the storm. We're displaced like you guys too. We just got back in our offices today. But we've had electronic connection to the world through the whole time. The reason I want to get the complaints is we can pool them and get them in groups for the Attorney General, District Attorney, FBI, Inspectors General, whoever needs them. You can still go to the agencies, but right now they're pretty swamped themselves.
And it may take a minute, but punishment's coming for some of these folks.
Let me just say that again in the house of God. Punishment is coming. You know,
you'll reap what you sow.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I was at a government, and they were prosecuting Ike fraud with FEMA, and they went to prison. Big, long terms. So if you're a scammer out there, I hope you're not listening. I hope you're out scamming people instead of trying, or maybe recovering yourself. You're going to go to jail, and we can't wait to testify against you.
Yeah, and again, it's all types of things. I remember when it was like there's a table set up outside the grocery stores, right? And they'll say, "Here's who we are." The grocery store is too busy. They're like, "Okay, go ahead." Saying it's for flood victims, and it really is not. What are some of the common ones to look out for that kind of raise red flags?
Any solicitation directed at you, as opposed to say through public service or well-known ones. Like the table you talk about.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm giving to the Wildlife Federation, give and I'll have a wildlife. That's kind of how they're thinking.
Yeah.
Not good, not good. You have to watch.
Well, the tough part with that is that there are little groups like little Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts who are collecting, and just different groups who are really out there doing that.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing is you got to have oversight over exactly where that money is going to go.
Right, and unless you just mentioned one organization, it's an organization that's easy. It's the ones that are vague. It's the ones that are hard to tell, and as we said to the one member of the audience, you're better to wait a while till you've had a chance to check it out.
Yeah.
We've checked it out. Again, that goes back to the contractor thing. If this is a charity and we know nothing about them, they're not registered with the Internal Revenue, they're not a charity.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not out there.
All right, let's talk about a lot of the contractor situations. There are contractors who will come and say, we're going to need this much up front. Is there a guideline as to how much you do and checks versus cash versus obviously credit card?
Credit cards are safest because you have the ability to come in and protest and do some negotiation. We like the thirds, a third at signing, a third midpoint, a third at the end. You may or may not get all that stuff right now. Here's the real thing, and your audience isn't going to like to hear it, but I'm going to say it. Right now, you want a contractor who says, I'll be able to get to you in 2 weeks. That's a good sign. If you have somebody who's knocking on your door and said, I'm here right now, what's wrong with this picture?
Yeah.
I mean, because the good ones, the legitimate ones are busy. They're being referred through insurance companies, past customers. They're busier than they can stand. You don't want somebody who just drove up in the truck and said, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
And then ask for verification, ask for references, all type of stuff. But even if they produce that, it doesn't mean it's the gospel.
No,
since we're
absolutely.
In church.
And again, what you want to see is a history, that we know something, that they're with those associations I mentioned, or that they have a track record. Let's say we have somebody that they're not one of our accredited businesses. They don't have, but they've got an A+.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. It's saying that they've taken care of things. You just don't want nothing. You don't
Yeah.
want the ones that have no history.
And here's the tough part. Again, seeing is believing. You can print business cards. Anybody can print business cards. You can even have a website, right, saying what you've done.
I'm going to let you in a little secret. I pay one full-time employee whose job is trademark enforcement on our logo. That is their full-time job, policing that mark.
Right.
So, yeah, and we file lawsuits against people who shouldn't be using it.
Yeah.
So, you're right. It tells you how easy they can do it.
When people are asking for personal information, that's the other thing that you got to protect.
Right now, the contracting, and we don't have enough workers. That's a reality. We're sitting here, 28% of people in the industry in this city are undocumented citizens. And a lot of them aren't stepping out of their house yet. Yeah. They're sitting there going, maybe not. By the way, the word we hear from immigration is they're not deporting people. This is a natural disaster. So come back out and let's start doing some work.
FEMA had mentioned that when I was down at the George R. Brown the other day too. He just said, don't be afraid. We need to get our neighborhoods and our communities stable. This is not what we're doing. So don't be afraid if you're undocumented. We still got to help you.
You're right. We need that workforce engaged. We're getting people from other, like Ike. 300 contractors came here from South Florida, and 296, I have the exact number, were legit. 4 weren't. Pretty good odds.
Yeah.
But look at what's happening with storms right now.
Right. We got another one coming.
Yeah.
Another one possibly coming.
It's getting the good people is going to be hard.
Yeah. All right. You mentioned that your offices went under as well.
The tower went under and our servers couldn't be brought up. So we really have damage, but our building was inaccessible, but we finally got back to it. But we've had people since last week operating remotely. We have an office in South Texas. They were handling consumer calls, but we're back now. So we're ready.
We're very lucky, very blessed. A lot of people, as we know, were not. There are some heart-wrenching stories, and so we want to share one of those stories with you when we come back. They got out, rescue boats came to get them, but they almost had another disaster there as well. So we're going to talk to her about her story, and also a lot of you have questions about your emotional health, how to talk to your children, how to deal with what happened. It's almost like a form of PTSD for a lot of folks. So we'll talk about that when we come back.